First process is to make sure that the shoulder and the leg are parallel to each other. Okay? I'll be showing you some postures that are wrong. This is too much further to the front, okay? As a result, it's unstable. The other extreme is that this is too much further to the back. And this is also another bad example. Actually, many students, they tend to sit this way here. Okay, so you might want to look out for that. So this is the right posture. The shoulders and the leg are parallel to each other. The next step will be to tell your student to draw an imaginary line going from the middle D to the belly button. Too near? Too far? Too near? Too far? And this is the optimum position. There are 6 points in the body that you have to look out for when it comes to piano technique. This is the first joint, this is the second joint, this is what we call the knuckle joint, the wrist joint, the elbow joint, and the shoulder joint. Okay. As an instructor, we need to look at these 6 points of the body in order to show the students a good, proper technique. You will use this joint to tell your students what to do to get their hand into the proper position. Okay. For example, you can tell your student to bend their first joint, bend the second joint, bend the knuckle joint, bend the wrist joint. So this is to minimize the physical contact between the students and the teacher. So all you have to do is just tell the students, okay, bend the first joint, bend the second joint, bend the knuckle joint, bend the wrist joint, or perhaps like drop the elbow joint. Okay, so make sure that your student understand the terms. Okay, so to teach this technique, okay, always begin by teaching the 6 points. Okay, this is to prevent too much physical contact between you and your students. Okay, bearing that in mind, we're gonna use this to explain the piano technique to the drop. The drop is an exercise to get the student to be more comfortable in the piano. Basically, what you do is to tell your student to relax their hand and then drop their hand onto the piano. This might look really easy, but many students never get it. If your student cannot do this, normally that's because they are very nervous when they come to your lessons. It is understandable because this is probably their first lessons. So to help them to relax, okay, you do their shoulder, elbow, wrist exercise. Okay, let me show you how this is done. First, ask them to raise their shoulder, okay, raise their elbow, raise their wrist, and then drop the wrist without dropping the shoulder and elbow, drop the elbow, drop their shoulder, again, shoulder, elbow, wrist, again, shoulder, elbow, wrist, then drop the wrist, drop the elbow, drop the shoulder. Okay, and then this is how you tell your students. First, okay, raise up the wrist joint and the elbow joint. Wrist joint and elbow joint, raise. Okay, both elbow and wrist joint, and then drop, relax the wrist and elbow joint. Okay, they will naturally have a free fall drop by lifting up using the wrist joint and elbow joint, and then just disengage that joint. Next step is to let them just be comfortable dropping their hand all over the piano. Make sure that they relax their elbow, the wrist, and the shoulders. Technique is about relaxing the body when you play the piano, and at the same time not to use physical force to play the piano. In fact, loud volume is achieved by relaxing the hand, not through physical force. When we talk about hand shape, we are talking about how the hands look like when the student play the piano. You can begin by first telling your student relax the hand, okay? Let me show you the difference between a relaxed hand and non-relaxed hand. Okay, non-relaxed hand, most students, what happens is that we'll have their finger like straighten up like this. Okay, our human hand naturally will curl up, it's being relaxed. So begin by teaching the students to relax their fingers. Okay, so you have to make sure that the hand, the student hand shape looks this way here. Okay, this is a view from the top, this is the view from the side. The next step is to explain to them where the hand meets the piano. Ask them by beginning by touching the tip of the finger over here, right over here. Okay, many students might have like an extremely long nails. Okay, so what happens is that you might want to advise them to cut the nails. Okay, so ask them to touch this part, the soft part of the hands. Okay, and tell them not to use this part when playing the piano. So the hand has to be in contact with the piano at this point here. This is where the finger meets the piano, not this. Okay, this is correct, this is wrong. Okay, the point of contact for all the fingers are over here, whereas the thumb, this is where the hand meets the piano. Yeah, so this is where the hand meets the piano, not here. Okay, many students will have the tendency to play it this way, but this is the correct way. Okay, so the sides of the thumb is where it meets the piano. Now let's talk about placement. First, make sure that your student is at proper posture. Okay, make sure that their shoulders are not raised. Make sure that their elbow are not raised as well. So they start by bending from their wrist this way here. Imagine them to hold a ping pong ball. Okay, not a tennis ball, but rather a ping pong ball. Okay, naturally. Okay, so we don't want them to have claw position like that. Okay, this is a forced claw position, but rather more relaxed. So when you hold a ping pong ball, your hand will naturally be curved and relaxed. Next step is to bring everything together to the piano. Make sure that all the appropriate point of contact are in place. Okay, remember the thumb is on the side and the rest of the other finger at the tip. Let's begin with the second finger. Okay, make sure that the first joint, second joint, and the knuckle joint are curved. The wrist joint has to be parallel or slightly bent. Okay, this is what not to do. This is correct. Okay, move on to another finger. Make sure that the first joint are bent, second joint are bent, knuckle joint are bent. Okay, the rest of the other finger, what happens is that they cannot raise. Okay, make sure that they are all stayed in the same point of contact. Okay, we will begin by teaching the student how to play the B major scale. Why do you teach the B major scale first? That's because the B major scale is the most natural scale for your hand. We all know that C major scale is the easiest scale to find on the piano. But we will begin by teaching our student to play the B major scale. Why is that? That's because the B major scale is the most natural scale to play for your hand. And why is it the most natural? That's because it encourages the hand to take on its most natural shapes. Try this exercise with your student. Okay? Retain the same shape that you have learned in B major scale and apply it to C major scale. Okay, so the C major scale doesn't look like
Code 45, code 45.
natural B major shapes onto the C major scale. Try that with your student using the B major scale hand shape onto the C major scale using both hands. B major scale, C major scale, B major scale, C major scale. Try to do this with the least movement as much as possible. This is a bad example of a student playing the B major scale by moving their hands a lot. Another bad example. Now realize that I don't move my hand a lot when I play the B major scale.